All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. The Cincinnati Reds have been one of Major League Baseball's feel good stories from the first half of this season, as after losing 100 games last year, they went into the All Star break in possession of first place in the National League Central. But right out of the chute here in the second half, the Milwaukee Brewers, who've won the Central in two out of the last 5 years, stormed into Cincinnati this past weekend and swept the Reds in a key series. And in doing so, the Brewers have now reclaimed first place in the Central as they have a two-game lead over Cincinnati. Now, this past weekend, Milwaukee did it with their pitching as they limited the Reds to just 3 runs during the three-game series, with all 3 runs from Cincinnati coming in the series finale. In 10 games this series versus the Reds, the Brewers are now 8-2. And for the Reds, they got to go out there and rebound in a hurry. I mean, they're in a rain delay right now. And this is a big 4-game series against the San Francisco Giants. The Giants are one of the top teams in the National League. If the season ended today, they'd be in possession of one of the wild cards in the NL. So if you're the Reds, you just got swept at home by Cincinnati. Now you got to try to find a way to get back on track against a surging Giants team. It's 2-2 right now in the eighth in the rain delay, but nonetheless, this is still a critical 4-game set for the Reds. For Milwaukee, this is going to be, and for the Reds in general as well, this is going to be a very interesting 2-game race to me, I think, between the two of these clubs from now until the end of the season. The Chicago Cubs, they're 6 games under 500, they're 8 games back. Both Pittsburgh and St. Louis are each 11 games back. And, like I talked about the other night, this is going to be a one bid division for the postseason. So you got to be all in to try to get your division crown. And if you don't, you know what? You're going to be watching the postseason from home. But pitching is going to be key coming down the stretch. That advantage goes to Milwaukee because they are one of the better pitching teams in the National League, while the Reds are at the bottom. This is going to be a tough week ahead for the Brewers. It's not just about the Reds, but you look at Milwaukee, they're off tonight. They got 3 in Philadelphia with the Phillies, and the Phillies have been playing some better ball as they are looking to get back to the postseason for the second consecutive year. Obviously, we're also talking about the Phillies as the defending National League champions. And then this coming weekend, Milwaukee will be at home for 3 with the Atlanta Braves. And if you've watched the Atlanta Braves play recently, you can see that right now they are the best team in Major League Baseball. They're cut above everybody else. And with that said, it is going to be a tall task, not completely undoable, but a tall task nonetheless for Milwaukee to go out there and win that series at home this weekend versus Atlanta. And then this time next week, we're going to be talking about the Reds and Brewers meeting for the final time this season. And this is why, or this is one of the reasons why this balanced schedule sucks in Major League Baseball, because I say it because we went from 19 division games to just 13 now. And now you have a scenario where the two best teams this year in this division are not going to play each other for the remaining 2 months of the season. So now, this is what it's all about. It should be about, playing your divisional foes coming down the stretch to see who's going to get that division crown. Now this ain't happening, especially in a year like this when Milwaukee and Cincinnati more than likely are going to battle it out for this crown. So if you ask me, and my personal opinion, who has the edge to win this division? Right now, it's a toss up. And I'm going to say it like this because I really want to see if the Brewers or Reds are going to be willing to make a move, whether it's a small move or a big move prior to the trade deadline. You look at the Brewers in recent years, they have been reluctant to go out there and make those big moves at the trade deadline. The Cincinnati Reds, they're currently a rebuilding team. And obviously, right now, they are ahead of schedule. Would they be willing to push some of that aside to go out there and make a move that would not only propel them to, winning this division for this year, but also, making some noise in the postseason as well? We got to wait and see. So I think it's going to be very interesting because I think at this point, I think both Milwaukee and Cincinnati are compelled to make a move. It's just a matter of how big that move is going to be. But nonetheless, you go out there and you make a move. Whoever makes that move first, then the other team definitely is going to want to go out there and counter. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing. Nonetheless, I think this is going to be a toss up. I think they're going to battle it out to the end. But at the end of the day, I think it stinks that we're talking about a scenario where we're here in mid July and we still got 2.5 months of the season. And after next week, the Brewers and Reds don't play each other for the rest of the year. Again, call me an old school guy, but this is why you need to really, focus on playing about 20 games per year versus your division opponent and, cut down on these, interleague contests that aren't as important on the standings. But nonetheless, this is it's going to be a very interesting battle. Like I said last week between the Brewers and Reds. Kudos to Milwaukee for going out there and making a statement this past weekend against the Reds. Let's see if the Reds, what they look like in this series right here. I see that the game has been now officially suspended, so they'll pick it up tomorrow. The Reds and Giants contest, but nonetheless, Cincinnati definitely has to get back on track after taking it on the chin versus Milwaukee, and let's see what type of momentum either one of these teams can pick up over the next 2.5 months. But folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365 that you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.